Hey, how's it going, everybody? I got a great question in one of my comments recently that I felt was deserving of a video and to address it on a bigger scale. This question had to do with networking skills and getting your first job in IT. Let me go ahead and read that for you. You should see it here on your screen as well. So the question, or the ink screener FX says, sigh. Honestly, I don't even know where to start, and I feel kind of dumb asking this, but here it goes. I just started the Google IT support certification on Coursera to get a basic understanding of IT stuff before taking the CompTIA A+ exams. My main goal is to snag a help desk job so I can get my foot in the door and work my way up. But while doing the course, I realized that networking is kicking my butt. Hey, it kicks a lot of people's butt. I get it. I mean, I get the TCP/IP models, 5 levels, IPv4, IPv6, switches, routers, and all that jazz. But putting it all together is just not clicking for me. So my question is, can I still land an entry-level help desk gig without being a networking pro? Or is networking something I gotta be good at to get my foot in the door in this field? So I'm going to address this for everybody who may be wondering, do I need networking skills to get into my first IT job? The answer to that is no. However, networking skills can really benefit you. You do not have to be a master at it to work on the help desk, but I need you to really think about the value of networking. The computer that you're on right now, or the phone or the tablet that you're listening to me on and watching me on, is got an IP address, right? It has a network connection, whether that's wireless or wired. It connects to a wireless router or an access point or a network switch, and it can only be beneficial to understand how that works. At the help desk level, you have some positions that really worry about documenting and creating tickets, troubleshooting low-level issues like, certain settings in the operating system, or maybe even hardware malfunctions and just random OS weirdness if you want to get super technical with it. But I'm telling you, these operating systems are connected to a network. So it's going to have an IP address, and it's going to be something that you do want to consider in your troubleshooting. Now, in a help desk role, does that mean you absolutely need to know how the switches and the routers operate? Do you need to know VLANs? Do you need to know how trunking works and all that? Maybe not right away. In the help desk level, generally, they are not concerned with that. That's more so the network administrator, the network support, the network technicians. However, it will depend on how the company you're working for, the organization you're working for, manages that position, right? So maybe they're a big corporation, and they support department stores. And along with troubleshooting the point of sale devices, they also have to consider what's going on the switch. Because maybe a switch port went down, and they've got to think, okay, well, maybe the port is locked down or shut down. Maybe I need to connect to that switch and bring the port up. So I know it sounds a little contradictory for me to say no, yet then explain the importance of it. Overall, I believe that your networking skills are going to be an inevitable skill that will help you grow beyond the help desk. Because the truth of the matter is, most people don't want to stay in the help desk. I started my career in a help desk. I worked for a tractor company, or tractor sales and repair company, the first IT job that I ever had. And I was pretty much their lone IT ranger. So anytime anything came up, they called me. So if it was a printer issue, I was troubleshooting that. If it was something with their parts database, I was troubleshooting that. If it was anything with the computers, basically they were coming to me, they were calling me. And that was just a small organization, right? It was like 10 computers, maybe a little bit more. 10 employees, but they had computers in the shop, and I always tried to help them repurpose laptops to help them diagnose tractors. Interesting enough, I learned a lot about diagnosing tractors during that time, which is unexpected, but IT's unexpected depending on what role you go into. I just want you to know networking is a great skill to have. While not necessary to jump in and get in the help desk role, I think that you shouldn't try to avoid networking on purpose. The more you know about networking, the better off you're going to be and the further you'll go in the field. Even in cybersecurity, especially I will say in cybersecurity, if you're getting into penetration testing, especially if it's against network services like Active Directory, SMB, and all these different protocols, you definitely want to have your networking chops up to date and you want to work on them. I want to give you some words of wisdom and motivation in learning networking. So overall, I am saying no, that you don't need it for help desk, but I am saying yes to learning networking because it's going to better your career overall and you won't have to stay at the help desk. But when I first started learning networking, it felt overwhelming, learning the OSI model, TCP/IP model, how IP addressing works practically, right? Like subnetting. Subnetting was so hard for me. And I've talked about this. I have a video series for you all. If you are struggling with networking, it's on my channel. It's called Practical Networking Fundamentals. It's a playlist. I'm still working on it. It's got several videos in it already, and people are getting a lot of value out of it. I encourage you to check out that playlist and really soak it in. Build a home lab. Learn this stuff. Networking was hard for me at first, but I had an interest in it, and I let that interest carry me through all the struggles. And I promise one day, it was like after all the hard work, one day I started to see the bigger picture of networking. I like now I can see it in my head, how devices connect, how traffic should flow from one end device to the other, or one server to the other, or between routers and switches. But I didn't start there and realize when you look at somebody's finished product, if you will, or somebody who's further on, don't get discouraged by that. They have worked on that skill and it could have been years. I tell my students when I teach networking, because I've taught networking for over 5 years now, for I'll say like 2.5 hours a day, pretty much every day except for Friday and the weekends. So a lot of the concepts that, normally people would kind of throw out, I memorized because I had to teach it every day and people were standing in front of me expecting me to explain concepts. Same with the YouTube channel. I get a lot of practice. So the thing is, you got to practice with this. So if it's IP addressing and subnetting you're struggling with, dive into those problems and continue to work on it. You need to practice this hands-on. So build a home lab, buy a small, like Netgear switch or unmanaged switch. Maybe try to get your hands on some older hardware. Build labs, practice, connect them together, install different operating systems like Linux and see how do I connect Linux systems together. Set up DHCP servers. And in my Practical Network Fundamentals course, I do have projects that I recommend and walkthroughs of those projects. I recommend the project and then I'll actually do a walkthrough of the project to show how I set it up from scratch in my home lab. Ultimately, you should know networking in the long run, not just for the help desk, but because you want to go beyond the help desk into network administration, into system administration, into higher levels of the IT field, especially cybersecurity. Some people call cybersecurity the pinnacle of IT, and this is where a bunch of different sub-disciplines of IT merge. You have so many different systems and topics that are connecting here with cybersecurity, and so many things to consider on how to protect or how to hack if you're an ethical hacker or penetration tester. And networking is going to become a core component of those. And it's only going to get more important as time goes on and as we continue to connect random things like refrigerators and stuffed animals and different toys that are getting an IP address now because we're building smart functionality into them. Whether you agree with that or not, or whether you think it's weird or not, That's what's happening in IT right now. And it's the great convergence, if you will. Everything's connecting to a network. I hope that's been helpful. I hope it shed light on the perspective behind networking, and just be motivated. You can do it. If you want to get in this field, there's going to be walls you're going to hit. There's going to be topics that you'll struggle with. And the more you practice, the more you really force yourself to do hands-on, and supplement it with reading and watching videos, but get hands-on, the more you'll start to see it connect. And the more you will be able to troubleshoot issues, help people, and provide value to others. That's all I've got for this video. Until next time, keep learning.